Hey yo, this is Dash.
Yeah.
Hey yo, this is Dash, and today I'm going to be smoking some salmon. So I'm going to actually use Vicky, the vertical smoker, and I'm going to smoke some salmon today. So let me go ahead and get my salmon prepared. Then I'm going to get the smoker ready, and we'll get at it. Okay, so I have my piece of salmon here, and I just rinsed it off. And one of the first things you should do when you get your salmon is feel for any bones. And I have a couple. So what I have is a miniature set of needle nose pliers. And the best way to do this, so when you fillet a salmon, you cut down the ribs, but then the part of the cage, the bones go down in here like this. So what I'm going to do is rub my fingers against the grain here, and you just go in, and it's going to take a sharp tug to get them out. Alright, and actually that might be it. It just looks like there was two. Oh, here's another one. So you might have to actually go down slightly under the surface, grab the bone, and pull it out. And I'm just double checking. Oh, here's another one. Pull it out. Alright, now I can season the salmon and we're ready to cook. Alright, so now I am making the long trek down to my garage. And so I'll go ahead and get Vicky started. You see I'm cradling my salmon, right? I have 3 kids, so I have plenty of practice holding salmon. Alright, so I'm headed down to the garage, and next step, get the smoker started. This is the charcoal basket I made when I was down at Kirk's house. And you see how it can hang off of the ledge here? I'm going to do something similar with the charcoal basket that I fabricate for the for Priscilla. Alright, so this piece of expanded I'm going to put at an angle, so I'm going to be taking up some of the volume in here, and it'll help the charcoal to be more of a pyramid and stacked on top of itself, which will help it to burn better. I'm going to put 2 sticks, so here's my first stick. It's going to go at the bottom. I normally use a little bit of Kingsford to help prevent the royal oak from falling through. And I mix some royal oak. And I know that's way too much charcoal, but maybe I'll find something else to cook too. Alright, then I'm gonna put another piece of wood on top. And then we're going to close this in. I get my Burns-O-Matic lawn and garden. I think it was called a weed torch or a weed burner. Turn it on, and we start it. Now, as you see, what I'm doing is just taking the propane torch and I'm getting a charcoal lit. I'll kind of rest it on this edge here, and I'll let it go for maybe a minute, and I'll get the charcoal going. so now I'll go ahead and close the firebox. At this point, what I'll do is I'll usually leave the door open for a few moments to help the fire draft. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes since I started the smoker, and I'm headed back down to the garage. So, smoker has come up to temperature. It is showing 239 degrees currently, which is plenty warm. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some aluminum foil on the rack that I'm going to use. Actually, I'm going to clean it a bit. Then I'm going to put some aluminum foil on the rack. And typically I don't put aluminum foil on the racks. The only exception to this rule is salmon, only because if you've ever tried to remove salmon from a grill rack, you know how difficult it can be, and smoked salmon is no exception. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you guys set up on a tripod. I'll be back once I'm about to put the salmon into the smoker. You guys remember my salmon baby, right? Alright, so now because the heat is coming this way, what I'm going to do is put the thicker side of the salmon on this side so the heat can roll over and hit this side first. Alright, so my salmon is placed in here nicely. I'm going to get this rack moved up. Again, I moved it down just so you can see the salmon and see the layout a little easier. And let's move it. Just be careful when you're working with your salmon. I don't know if you saw that, but the salmon could have slid completely off of there had I not been paying attention. Okay, so my my thermometer, the wireless thermometer, is connected to my probe here. And what I'm going to do, you see, I'm shooting for 140 degrees. It's at 54 degrees now. The smoker temperature is at 201. I'm actually going to program this, and you guys can watch me. So we're going to go to number 2. See the number 2 up in the left, top left. And then I'm going to go, we're still on barbecue. We're going to set the high temperature to 275. Actually, we'll do 285. And I'll set the low temperature to 235. 240 is fine. Alright, so now you see my temperature inside the smoker is at 219. What I'll do now is I will go ahead and throttle the air inlet back so the temperature stops climbing so fast. Alright, I'm going to throttle it back. Alright, so at this point, all I have to do is be patient and wait for either the smoker to get a little too high or too low, and or for my fish to be done. The beautiful thing about this particular thing is a long-range wireless thermometer. If you check in the description down below, I have a link, an Amazon link to one that's similar. The ones that I purchased in the beginning, they're made by ReadyCheck. ReadyCheck no longer makes them, and they are, or Maverick actually is the manufacturer that it used to be. It's now done by someone else. There's another manufacturer for these, but these work great. They have the ones that in particular that I'm using are long-range thermometers, and they allow me to set the smoker, start the smoker, and monitor the temperature of my food as well as the smoker from inside the house. This particular model is, again, it's a long range. It has like a 250 or 300 foot range, and it comes in very handy, especially in the middle of the winter when it's too cold for me to sit out in the garage with the smoker and babysit it all night long. So I'm going back inside. I'm going to monitor the temperature, and I'll be back when it's done. Alright, so there we have it. So the fish is at, the salmon is at 140 degrees. And oh man, it looks great. So let me get some gloves and I will go ahead and get this pulled out of here and I'll show you what it's look like. Okay, so because I have this salmon on this sheet, I am going to go ahead and pull it right into this pool pan, and see the professional skill there. And wow. Just wow, look at that. Whew, goodness. Amazing. All right. Time for me to go ahead and get this in the house. And hopefully you can see that great color on this thing. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time holding it up in the air only because I don't want to drop it. But just one more good look. Wow. Alright, so you saw me take the salmon out of the smoker. I know everyone's going to ask me how long did it take. Honestly enough, it was right at about an hour and a half. Though, you guys know I do not cook for time, I cook for temperature. The smoker was, by the time it was all said and done, it was at about 260 plus degrees. So it could, obviously your mileage may vary, hence the reason I tell you to cook for time, or excuse me, cook for temperature and definitely not for time. If your smoker is cooking down to 225 degrees, it'll make a big difference versus if it's cooking at 275 degrees. But before I finish and before I end this video, I wanted to make sure you saw how dinner turned out. So there's my salmon, and I figured I would use some of that smoked cheese. So there is the, I believe that's the mild cheddar on top of some broccoli. So thanks again as always for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe.